96. 97.3 Citi FM. It doesn't get any better than that.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. Citi News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Citi News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sanda Amadou. Tonight I'm here with
Akusia Ocho.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes.
So we've commenced that investigation. We've written to the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament because he's a sitting member of Parliament.
Police invite Minority Leader Afenyo-Markin over the alleged assault on a police officer during yesterday's demonstration by the MPP and allied groups. We'll be hearing from the leader on Eyewitness News tonight, as well as the Police Criminal Investigations Department. Also coming up, Supreme Court dismisses Old Tafo MP Vincent Safua's injunction application against the suspension of the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu. We'll be hearing more on what transpired in court. And later on Eyewitness News, what exactly is accounting for the stability of the Ghana cedi against the dollar? We'll be exploring that issue here tonight on Eyewitness News. And in business,
Anglo Gold Ashanti and Goldfields put on hold plans for Idua Prim and Tapwa Gold Mines measure.
That's in 50 minutes from the Citi Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a host of affiliate stations and around the globe on citinewsroom.com. We are on our website as well, citifmonline.com. We are interactive. Join us. WhatsApp 0549 986 996 0549 986 996. You can also send tweets on the platform now known as X by mentioning my handle at Umaru Sanda or at Citi973. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We start off with the police, which says it is investigating an incident of an assault on an officer yesterday. Akosia.
Now, the Ghana Police Service has launched a probe into the alleged assault of Minority Leader Afenyo-Markin by a police officer during a protest against the suspension of the Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu yesterday. Now, in a statement, Mr. Afenyo-Markin recounted the incident, accusing Constable Forsen of striking him forcefully on the chest as he approached the barricade to present a petition during the demonstration. On speaking to journalists at the police headquarters in Accra, the Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department, DCOP Lydia Yakodonko, confirmed that the service had contacted the Speaker of Parliament to obtain the necessary information to aid in the investigation.
About the Honourable Afenyo-Markin case, I believe that we all saw all their videos in social media about... Somebody asked about the Honourable Afenyo-Markin case. I believe that we all saw all their videos in social media about an altercation or confrontation that happened during the demonstration. We captured it on our lenses as well. So it's a matter of investigation. If it's an assault, if it's a tussle or a confrontation, whatever it is called, it has to be investigated. So we've commenced that investigation. We've written to the Right Honourable Speaker of Parliament because he's a sitting member of Parliament. We've identified the police officers who were on duty at the scene. We have taken statements and we'll definitely update you in due course. Thank you very much.
That was the Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service, DCOP Lydia Yakodonko.
Now, before this announcement, the Honourable Afenyo-Markin, of course, led the NPP and allied groups on a demonstration yesterday. They said they were saving the judiciary of Ghana, and that assault that was talked about, which the Member of Parliament claims was rather carried out against his person, happened when they were entering Parliament. However, at the end of the demonstration, there was an address to the demonstrators, at which point the Honourable Afenyo-Markin tells us he did not mention to the demonstrators. If he did, it would have led to a lot more chaos. Let's listen to excerpts of what he said to demonstrators yesterday, which was a culmination of events of yesterday. Before we speak to him, because we have him on the line, let's listen.
There must be an end to this issue of you do me, I do you. There must be an end to retaliatory politics. In Ghana today, all of us as political actors have a story to tell. Where do we end the vicious cycle? It is not yielding to the whims of hawks and hardliners in our respective political parties that will make us better political leaders. We believe that the hawks must be pushed back onto the fringes so that the centrists can take the center stage for the good of our country. In today's era of social media, you cannot control what gets onto the streets, and this democracy must be protected and safeguarded.
So here's Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, MP for Ifutu and Minority Leader there. He's joined us on the line. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you so much indeed. I'm happy to be here. It's been a long time.
Yeah, you've been very busy. You've been very busy. I think this is the first time speaking to you since. It's interesting that at the tail end of your speech there, you mentioned social media and how you cannot control what goes there. Indeed, you cannot. Yesterday, social media was awash with videos of what appears to be, and the narrative that followed that social media video is that you knocked a policeman on the head. Later in the evening, we saw your statement suggesting that you were rather the victim. The police issued a statement subsequently saying that you assaulted one of their own. The CID says you have been, an invitation has been sent to you through the Speaker of Parliament for you to come and aid in investigation. If the narratives that have been put across is anything to go by, why did you assault an officer of the law?
Well, Limari, I think I disagree with you on that question, and I think you can do better on it. The police hasn't alleged an assault. I mean, to be fair to them, I read their statement, and I also just heard the officer who spoke at the part of the interview. The police have not alleged assault. They have not made that categorical statement against me, and I just want to be fair to them. So if you could rephrase your question, since you are quoting from the statement of the police, so that we can put the conversation in a proper perspective. Let me
read the statement as published by the police, and then we see whether they allege assault against you or not.
Whether they are, whether they are alleging assault against me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm reading it so that we see whether they allege assault against you or not.
Yes, please.
Okay. So police invite Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin to assist investigation into viral demonstration video. The Ghana Police Service has reviewed several video footages on an alleged assault on a police officer by Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin during the just ended demonstration. Following the review, the service has written to the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament requesting the release of Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin to assist ongoing investigation into the alleged incident. The officer in question will also be assisting the investigation. That is the end of the police statement. They say that they have reviewed several video footage on the alleged assault on a police officer by you.
Yeah, but they have not. I don't know how you want to put it, but it's okay. Let's move past it. I think that I'm satisfied with the statement from the police. In all sincerity, I see some sincerity in how they themselves would want to approach the issue. And I've also listened to the officer you interviewed. I didn't get his name. He himself, when you were asked, he said whether it's altercation or confrontation or assault, when they get to the bottom of it, they would know. Meaning, they want to be fair. I would want to rely on my petition to them. As you may be aware, I petitioned the IGP for them to commence investigations into the matter. I found what happened yesterday most unfortunate, that a constable could look me straight in the eye and do what he did. I've also given the police a full account of what happened. I've shared that with them, and I expect them to take action. On the issue of the invitation, I've been in Parliament the whole of today. I've checked with the Speaker's Secretariat. It appears at the time I reached out to the Secretariat, no such letter from IGP's office has been sent to the Speaker's office. However, considering the fact that this matter is so critical, I wouldn't even want to wait for police invitation. I would want to waive that privilege of mine and walk to the police themselves. So I'm using this opportunity to, as it were, ask the police if there's any particular person who is handling the case and who would want to see me, they can give me a ring. Yesterday I tried reaching out to the IGP. He couldn't pick up my call. I'm sure he was busy. I've called him about 7 times on his 2 known numbers because I wanted to know who is handling the matter or how he's dealing with the matter. So I'm sure this is an open invitation. The police should know my number. If they don't have it, you can flip it through to the officer you interviewed. Whoever is managing the case or the team that is managing can quickly reach out to me that, Honorable, want you to come and see this person at this time in this particular office. I would want to waive that right so that we don't need to have that procedure of Speaker having to even call and schedule a date. This must be dealt with swiftly, and I believe that in the end, the Ghanaian public will get to know of the truth, and then we'll put it to a peaceful rest.
You sound very confident, which means you do not agree with all the claims you made on social media, in particular that you assaulted a member of parliament, an officer of the law. You do not agree at all to that claim. That's why you are submitting yourself for this investigation.
Yeah, like I said, I'm on social media. All manner of things do happen. Yesterday we had a very successful, peaceful demonstration. I'm sure those who are opposed to the demonstration, they don't expect us to pull the numbers. Of course, I'm the leader of the group. I led the demonstration, and political adversaries wanted to also take advantage of that situation where I was rather a victim to say what they put out on social media. But it's part of politics, and I understand. I'm not too worried about it. I believe that eventually the truth will come out, and I pray that the police would have the courage when eventually they review everything and get to know the truth. Perhaps they will boldly issue a public apology to me and take proper action against whoever did that to me. The good news is that I was able to capture the gentleman's name. I put out the name there because when he did that to me, the first thing I wanted to know was his name tag, which I got. And I looked at his rank and I realized that, there was nothing. Then I said, okay, if he has no rank visibly written, because at least I know, I've taught at the police training school, so I know the various ranks. If you have nothing there, you are constable. If it's 1 bar, you are that's corporal, lance corporal, 2, if it's 3 sergeant, and then 2 star on the top. So at least I have some idea of the various ranks and all that. And I noticed that there was nothing. And I said, hey, how can a very junior officer have the courage to act the way he did? But anyway, I pray the police themselves deal with it in a very sincere manner and then apologize. But you can't take away propaganda from your opponent. It's part of it. You can't stop them. So
your colleague MP and Minister for Communication put up something on Facebook to the Honorable Samuel Nate George. He shared a video of himself during the Ayawaso West Wogom by-election, that violence, and he said, the very people who said my words were justification for these attacks by two national security, and he put that in quotes, operatives today are slapping a policeman who was simply doing his job. This life is truly a cycle. We pray for long life and good health. This is an apparent reference to you that you slapped an officer. So you're saying to us tonight on authority that you did not slap or hit the head of this policeman whatsoever. You were simply defending yourself in your statement, like you said.
Omaru, I beg you. Let's have a very good interview. I beg you. Let's move on. Okay,
we'll move on. When you moved from the demonstration yesterday, you were busy. You went to what do you call it? Your constituency, Futu. I have seen a publication by the Herald newspaper online, which suggested that you went there to cause trouble. So the headline, which I'm going
no.
So let me read it for you. Then respond. Let me read. No, leader, let me land, then you can respond. Yes.
I'm saying let's have a good interview.
Yes.
Let's allow our listeners to enjoy our discussion.
We will do so.
Herald has not suggested I have gone to cause any confusion.
Fine.
I've read what online Herald published.
Let me read it.
I've read it.
Let me read it so my listeners will hear. The Herald. Afenyo-Markin stokes fire in Efutu, tells NDC not to nominate MCE, which means that you are the man behind the rejection of the nominee yesterday.
Wow, look at this. What Umaru, you are training to become a lawyer. Stop this. I beg you.
Okay. What did you go to do in Efutu yesterday in reference to the nomination or rejection?
Take back your earlier statement, which is out there, so that we can move on a decent path.
I take out the part where I said that you have gone to cause trouble, but
exactly.
I stick to the headline.
You were trying to say Herald did it. Okay. And I have read Herald today. And I know Herald hasn't said that. Anyway, let me go straight to the point. We had the elections yesterday, and we're able to successfully elect a presiding member for the assembly. And then, unfortunately, we could not confirm the MC nominee from His Excellency the President. I'm sure the regional minister will do the necessary homework, and together we'll find a way out of it. Yesterday, there were a lot of discussion. The regional minister knows what to do, and I hope he is able to do what he's supposed to do, and then we move on for the good of the community.
So you said the NPP, and this is the Herald I'm quoting again, will not allow an MCE to be elected in that municipality. Do you have a choice? Do you have someone you wish to be nominated, or you're simply not going to allow anybody to be MCE? What exactly is your position?
I'm saying to you that yesterday we were not successful. The regional minister has some information to be ferried to government. It is expected that will be done so that the confirmation processes could be done for the good of the community.
And honestly, I still don't get you properly. So the position is you will not accept an NDC nominee, or you will not accept any nominee. I'm still not clear. Please explain to me further.
Well, let's move to another point, please.
Leader, I'm just simply trying to get.
I'm relying on the 2 points I've made in response to your question, and I would not go further. I don't vote, and you know I don't vote. I don't have voting rights. I'm an ex-official member of the assembly.
But you have a lot of influence.
No.
Okay, if the regional minister is listening to us tonight, what should the regional minister do so that the Efutu municipality will have an MCE?
But I've already answered you that certain discussions were held, and the regional minister is supposed to ferry certain things across so that there would be a clear path for the good of the community. Those discussions were held. I'm not supposed to be here to be talking about matters that elders of the land have sat in council to agree upon. I can't be saying that in public.
Very well. Let's move on to other issues and talking about your constituency, your municipality, the traditional role that you play in there. The Abuachiri Festival is one of the festivals that I saw you being part of, saw you in the regalia. I have also seen your title Osahin added to your name. How did that festival end? Has it ended? And again, I have a personal view that festival is not sold enough for the patronage that it requires. It's something I've read about when I was in primary school, but I do not think it's sold enough. As a member of parliament representing that area, what will you do to ensure that that festival gets the eyeballs and the attention that it requires?
Thank you, Maru. I appreciate it. First of all, I agree with the earlier point you made regarding the marketing of the tourism potential of the festival. We had a long-standing chieftaincy dispute in Efutu, and that affected a lot of our traditions, our tourism activities, potentials, and economic development of Efutu. Until I came onto the scene where I said, look, enough of the fight. I reached out to both parties and I worked with both parties. And if you realize the honor of the Asafo Osahin title, normally in Winneba, you are sent to a title through your paternal line. I am from Winneba through my matrilineal line and not my paternal line, because I'm an Aloman by my father's lineage. My dad is an Aloman, so paternally I'm from Alo. The elders came together to say, look, Pamina, we want to give you this title as a unifier, and Osahin, you are a ceremonial head for both Asafo, the Dentifo Asafo, which has red as its color, and then the Twafo Asafo, which has white as its color. So I got the title. My job is basically to bring the two sides together and deal with all the underlying issues that affect our unity, so that the people can rally around the Futu dream for us to reenact our culture, our heritage, and the pride we have as a people. So a lot of activities have been embarked upon. The first one was the city beautification project, which was begun some 4 years ago. And if you come to Winneba today, you see it for yourself, the Heritage Center, the Unity Square, and all of these depict our rich tradition and culture. This year, we're able to get the two factions to all participate. Some years back, we had the Dentifo Asafo sitting at home and not participating for a long time. It took a lot of night walking, and a lot of the principal elders supported, and we managed to get things to the center. It all boils down to this hawkish posture that we have in our society, where people will say that I will not allow, and etc., etc. Anyway, by the grace of God, we are making progress. And we are not only looking at our Abuachiri, which is the deer hunting festival, which talks about our history. As you may be aware, Efutus entered its present day location in the 1400s, having migrated from the Pono Ahafu area the Techiman enclave, came all the way, settled a bit in the Jukwa area. If you go to the Jukwa area, there's a place called the Futu. They stayed there a bit and moved to the Cape Coast area, settled there a bit and moved further eastwards. And then they go to the Apam area where some of them remain. You call it a place called Joma. Everything we have in Winneba, they have the same thing there. You know, they said one of the sisters called Ejo, decided to stay there. And then Dosimpam himself, the warrior who led them with one eye, eventually moved the troops, the people to the present location. But even there were two experiences. You know, the Muni Lagoon, they first tasted the water, it was salty, and they didn't find it suitable to settle there because they needed water. And they moved further eastwards and met the Ayensu. So they named that river Ayensu in local language, Aninyensu. We've gotten water in the Futu language. You know, the Futu is part of the Guan group. So they stayed there and settled eventually. Some, because majority of them were farmers, they moved further inwards. And then that's why you go to places like Osobompenyin, Atetu, Bombito, which is New Winneba, towards the Straight Road enclave. You see that Futu people doing farms, because where they were coming from, they had farming and hunting as their trade. And then some settled with those they came to conquer at the Inshona, along the coast. And then they took over fishing. Now they started sacrificing human beings according to oral history every year for the Penchotu, the spirit that led them and protected them. But they complained to the Penchotu that, you know, human beings being sacrificed was quite burdensome. So he said, okay, if you don't want a human being to be sacrificed, then bring me a live lion every year. They agreed. But even so, they realized that they're getting a lion live. More people were dying than, you know, sacrificing a single being in a year. So they came back to the deity and then pleaded that, look, when we go there, we find these deer all over around, very calm and all. From where we were coming from in the Chiman area, we had some of these animals that we found them very sacred. Can't we use this one for your annual sacrifice? According to oral tradition, oral history, yes, the deity agreed to accept the deer. And that is how come the deer hunting festival called Abuachiri commenced. And it's been there for hundreds of years. And we've also come to meet the same thing.
Okay.
And
I think next year March you should be on the Heritage Month and tell us more on this. But just out of curiosity, people still run after the deer and catch it. Is that what happens now?
Yes. They go hunting, and if you are lucky and it has rained, you know, this year the rains were heavy in that enclave. You know, the Manku area, that forest reserve. Though people have encroached, but the place is still there, and the deer, once it rains, they come to the riverbanks to take water. You know, so that's how come they both had a catch.
Very well.
So they go hunting physically, and you are not to harm the animal. You have to catch it physically and then, you know, carry it live. You know, if you can't bring a dead deer.
Yeah, very well. Finally, before you go, tomorrow marks 120 days in office for the President John Dramani Mahama. I spoke to Minister for Government Communications yesterday. He said the President will be speaking to the nation tomorrow to tell us what his compact with Ghanaians was for the 120-day agenda and what he has achieved so far. From where you stand as a minority leader, are there some successes of this Mahama government that you would celebrate? Of course, I'm sure you would have a lot of challenges, but are there some positives that you think he has done well so far in 120 days?
Are there any positives?
Yes, plenty.
Oh, I see. Well, for me, It's a 120 days of disappointment and regret. And I'll take you through. First, the NDC in 120 days have created a two Ghana. A Ghana for them and their party, and a Ghana for the others they consider enemies. First of all, when they assumed office, they decided to terminate the employment of Ghanaians who have been employed into state institutions. The original letter from the Chief of Staff was to the effect that those who were employed into the public and civil service after the December 7 elections, and they think there are irregularities in the said employment, should have the employment terminated. Well, I found that even to be defective. But what did we even see? There was a mass dismissal. The civil servants and public servants whose employment dates way back were all sent home. Apart from that, state institutions that are independent and do not rely on any funding from the state, limited liability companies with majority shares, with the state having majority shares, also took decisions to sack people. I know of a lot of people who were employed 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, just going to the office and receiving a termination letter. Ghana Water, Ghana Gas, Maritime Authority. I have piles of petitions in my office. We raised this matter on the floor of the House. We engaged government officials. They said, oh, they are trying to sanitize something. Nothing happened. Worst of all, teachers and nurses who were employed and hosted were also attacked. They didn't really care. It is only the teachers that Harun Idrisu, upon assuming office, issued a statement that, oh, they were going to do some validation. But as we speak, there is no evidence of people who were posted and were teaching in classrooms and were asked to go home, being asked to take back their job. That is the first major misstep of this government. Instead of creating employment, they have rather created more unemployment in our society. Second, and rather more devastating, is the issue of their failure to bring into being their own flagship program called 24-hour economy. In the 24-hour economy, they made us to understand that they were going to create what they call 133, one job, 3 shifts. In other words, they were going to create an enabling environment for the private sector to be able to create more jobs through incentives. What we see today is a complete lack of policy for the private sector. The Ministry of Trade has no policy direction by way of how to deal with the private sector. They cancelled the 1D, 1F policy, in its place 0. Mr. President himself, in the SONA address, told us that the 24-hour economy policy will find space in the budget by its finance minister. Unfortunately, when the finance minister also appeared before us and read the budget statement for the 2025 financial year, he also deferred the 24-hour economy policy by saying that it is being worked on. So the question is, did the NDC do matricle on Ghanaians? How can you say your flagship program, which would bring a lot of relief, yet in your maiden budget, that does not find space? What it means practically is that for this year, we should forget about the 24-hour economy. So all the businessmen, all the entrepreneurs who relied on this campaign promise into thinking that, oh, indeed, they were going to get incentives by way of electricity tariffs, they will get some rebates and all. Tax incentives have all been disappointed. What we are experiencing is an increase in tariffs where companies are paying huge, tariffs, and it's making the cost of doing business very expensive. What they have also created is uncertainty in the business environment. Look, not a single supplier, a single contractor, a single businessman has been paid by the finance ministry. Finance ministry has not paid anybody, and they say that, the city is stable, they are able to control the dollar. But why are you choking, suffocating the private sector? If businessmen have worked and are not receiving payments, and you now say that you are doing audits, etc., in which direction the economy? So really, for the private sector, where they could have created the space and given assurances for people to have confidence in the economy, they have failed in that direction. There is really nothing new. I don't see any policy direction that would create an opportunity.
It's interesting.
The last point. The last point, then you can tell me, is their attitude towards the state institutions and the pillars of democracy. Go to the defense ministry, Ghana Armed Forces. They basically cleared all the generals. They started with the service chiefs. They cleared them, sacked them, and then all generals, 15 of them were also sacked. They brought in their own set of people, promoted them to enable them qualify for the position. After getting it, now all 2-star generals who the states have invested heavily in their training, whose expertise are needed for the good of the country, are also being sacked. If you come to the judiciary, the least said about it, the better. They are doing a divide and rule in the judiciary, targeting the Chief Justice, promising some judges of promotion, giving some assurances to judges, and all. So, if you look at the whole Mahama 120-day government, it is nothing but a divide and rule kind of government that does not give any hope. And it also appears to me that the lame duck days of the government has rather started too early. Because we also heard from the national chairman of the NDC that people are rushing to succeed the president. People are putting in their effort, going around the country campaigning as to who will succeed the president. It's not me who is saying it. It is no less a person than the national chairman of the ruling party. He is granted interview, and without anybody holding a gun to his head, said that, look, this is what is happening in his party. Clearly, it also sends a very negative signal out there, and it weakens the government. And I see that this is not a government that can hold itself together. It is being controlled by hawks, extremists who are pushing for blood and want their desires, their whims and caprices to be adhered to. And we've seen the human rights abuses. The former governor of the central bank, what they did to him in his residence, the raid in Kenoforiate's house, the Dr. Bawumia's aide, what they did to his residence when he was out working for his boss, and all that. There's nothing promising. I would want to conclude that Mr. President should use this 120-day, look at all the negatives, reflect, and rather do a positive reset. So far, the resetting he's been talking about, has been negative, and it's not good for the country.
There's one good thing, though, if you haven't seen, and you said there's nothing good. I just wanted, my banker sent me a message to say that the Citi to dollar now is 13.1. That's a big good news for the business community, just in case you didn't know. And it's all part of the 120-day period.
At what cost?
At the cost of stability of the depreciation of the cedi, which will be very valuable for everybody who is doing business. So that when you go to the supermarket now, they can write a price there, which price they are setting would stay for some time. Unlike what happened in the last 2 years or so, where shop owners would tell you they are unable to write their prices and put on goods because it changes every day. So I'm just alerting you. So that's a good reset.
Facts are facts.
Yes.
If the exchange rate is at a certain level,
the exchange rate will expose you.
I need to make the point.
Yes.
If the exchange rate is at a certain level, I cannot deny it. It is a fact. However, I ask the question, at what cost? Are businessmen being paid? Are people imported? Are prices coming down? With time, they will be exposed.
Very well.
You see, I'm not an economist, but I go with the street, economics, basic Afenyo attitude towards managing an economy. If there is lack of trading, there is no trade fluidity in the economy, and you are talking about the Citi being stable, you haven't achieved anything, because with time, those who have stock would have the stock going down, and there will be the need for them to import, and then that pressure will come. Let us create a very organic, economy where we will not create a certain impression only for a temporary period. Because if you are not paying contractors, if people are uncertain and are just doing wait and see, if there is no pressure on your currency because people are not trading, you don't see it as a success story.
Very well.
But if they think that is the way to go, let's see how they sustain it.
Thank you.
It's just a matter of time.
Thank you for speaking to us, sir.
Thank you, Mario. I appreciate it.
That's Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin, is MP for Futu and Minority Leader. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Stronger brand you can trust. Polytank, we get some more Rambo and get some more super. And the Polytank, we get Polytank. Papa no Alcazar. Polytank, the original, always the best.
Oh, jump on now. Go. Ugomi, and what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I don't change my car. It be the same, right? It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mindset be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open there.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my go be fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my go be inside? Go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
Welcome back. Let's do some more stories. And the Supreme Court, by 3-2 majority decision, has dismissed the application seeking to injunct the processes for removal of Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono and revoke her suspension. Others' motion filed by Old Tafo Member of Parliament Vincent Ekwasifwa was represented in court by former Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Dame. Now, Acting Chief Justice Paul Bafo-Boni, Justice Yoni Kulendi and Amadou Tango voted to dismiss the application. Justice Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu and Enes Gairu, however, dissented. Now, the full reasons for the decision of the court will be made available on May 21. Here's lawyer for the applicant, Godfrey Ibuadame, speaking to the media after proceedings.
The reasons for the decision have not been known. Of course, clearly, the spirit of the armed forces we're talking about. In the first place, it is important to indicate that nowhere that armed forces will you find a requirement for prima facie intervention made for Chief Justice. But the Supreme Court itself imported that into Article 1 forces in 2005 when it authenticated on the arbitration matter. But of course, the Supreme Court was silent on whether there ought to be notification to the Chief Justice and obtaining of his report before triggering the process. And that is what is in this before the court. My contention is that natural justice, all the rules of constitutionalism and all will require that there ought to be such process before Article 1 forces can be triggered.
That was Godfrey Ibuadame, lawyer for Old Tafo Member of Parliament, seeking to halt the process for the removal of the Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokono. Now let's hear from the Deputy Attorney General, Justice Remsai, speaking after court proceedings.
We are here to see the reasoning. So when we see the reasoning, of course, then we will know whether the court also dissented, the justices who dissented were dissenting because there was any basis for it. And there are so many reasons why the court dissented. But you were in court and you realize that the question was consistently put. What exactly are you alleging? What is the right that you are alleging? And to pile up a series of newspaper publications claiming that because newspapers are published that the president is attacking the judiciary, that is enough for the president to stop the process, or the process is unconstitutional because some newspapers are published. That cannot be a very strong legal basis.
For the decision that has been taken today, what does it mean to the process that is currently before the committee that is supposed to be there?
Well, it means the process will go on. The process will go on. The committee would sit, they would hear the inquiry into the matter.
That was Justice Remsai, Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice. Now, the Chamber for Local Governance, Chalog, has defended the right of assembly members to reject presidential nominees for the Metropolitan Municipal and District Chief Executive MMDC positions, stating that such rejections do not amount to disrespecting the president. All this follows remarks by the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Linda Oklu, accusing some MMDC nominees of instigating assembly members to vote against presidential nominees. Or she warned that if assembly members fail to confirm the president's nominees and no new candidates will be nominated. Speaking to Citi News, President of Chalog, Richard Fiadomo, argued that unless there is clear evidence of undue influence, assembly members have the constitutional right to accept or reject the president's nominee.
So if the regional minister has every grounds to suspect that there are external pressures that is what is making the assembly members not to confirm their nominees, to that extent, I agree with her that the assembly members need to be cautioned, and indeed, all those who are behind, who are also creating the problem, needs to be cautioned. But the fact still remains that if the assembly members reject a nominee, it doesn't necessarily mean they are disgracing the president. The president has done due diligence and he has got the name. The assembly members also reserve the right to also do due diligence and also confirm or reject the nominee. So we need to find out the difference between. But if the regional minister is convinced beyond reasonable doubt that there are people or persons behind the rejection of the president nominee to quote unquote disgrace the president, she has every right to voice it out. But the fact should not be lost on us that the assembly members have the right to either confirm or reject, and that one nobody can take it away from them.
Richard Fiadomo is the president of the Chamber for Local Governance, Chalog. Now, some residents in Accra have expressed anger against some executives of the National Democratic Congress in the La Dadekotopon municipality for allegedly masterminding the rejection of Alfredo Ni Anyate as the municipal chief executive for the area. All this comes after Ni Anyate secured only 5 out of the total of 14 votes by assembly members in the La Dadekotopon municipality. In an interaction with Citi News, the residents of La described the action as a sign of disrespect to the president.
They rejected the president nominee. You can contact one of the assembly members and then talk to them. Especially I'm not an assembly member, especially NDC vice chairman. Assembly member is the one who is engineering what is going on. That's Christopher Okogogo.
What evidence do you have?
Master, I'm saying with authority that NDC vice chairman, Christopher Okogogo, is the one who leading what is going on.
We've done almost 5 months. We don't have an assembly member, assembly MC around. The coordinating director is not doing anything. They can't take certain decisions. And President has nominated people for us. We go through a process. This process produce one candidate. All we needed to do is support the candidate. Even if MPP assembly members will not vote for us, the NDC assembly members must do it. This is disrespect to us, the party, and the president in office.
Those were some residents of La Dade Kotopong. Now, the government is racing against time to fulfill its 120-day social contract with Ghanaians. Tomorrow, May 7, 2025, marks exactly 120 days since President John Mahama was sworn into office, marking the deadline for fulfilling key promises outlined in the 2024 NDC manifesto. So far, 19 promises have been fulfilled, with 2 in progress, while the government is yet to deliver on 7, which include a review on taxes on vehicles, commencement of the 24-hour economy policy, a ban on illegal mining, a review of the Customs Amendment Act 2022, introduction of a bill to streamline government scholarship awards, investigations aimed at purging state security agencies of vigilante elements, and reopening investigations into by-election killings. Meanwhile, President Mahama is expected to address the nation on Wednesday, May 7, to provide an update on the progress of the administration's 120-day contract.
On Wednesday, the president will hold a broadcast in which he will render account for his stewardship in the last 4 months or 120 days. And therefore, I would urge Ghanaians to tune in and listen to the president so that they can draw their own conclusions as to the level of compliance with the very promises that the president made to the people of Ghana. So an update on what he has been doing in respect of the 120-day promise. So he will take each one and account for its implementation. So he is very committed to running a transparent administration, and part of that is meeting the press regularly. He will meet the press at a designated time, and we will announce that for everybody to hear. But on Wednesday, that's May 7th, he will do a broadcast in which he will outline the implementation status of the 120-day promise.
As Felix Ofosukwache, the Minister of State in charge of government communication. Now, following the launch of the Code of Conduct for government appointees yesterday, the government is also set to launch a digital portal for reporting breaches of the code.
Kindly do not put me in a position where I have to make that drastic choice, because when it comes to protecting the integrity of this government, I will not compromise. Citizen engagement and reporting. Accountability does not end at the walls of this room and in just one code of conduct. I invite the citizens of Ghana to play a role in monitoring compliance of this code. A portal will be created for the public to report suspected breaches with guarantees of confidentiality and impartial investigation. Ladies and gentlemen, what we launched today is more than a code. It is a declaration of intent. It is the foundation of a new ethos in public service, one that values ethics over expediency, duty over indulgence, country over self. We're here to serve and will serve with honor.
Those voice of President John Dramani Mahama. Now, the Renal Patients Association has expressed concern over the lack of clear communication from the Kolibu Teaching Hospital over the closure of its renal unit for over a week. While the closure of the unit has left patients who rely on dialysis without access to critical care, raising concerns about health and safety. Spokesperson for the Renal Patients Association, Kojo Bafuahin Kras, said the situation is taking a toll on members.
Actually, we've not had any formal complaint from them or any official message from them. But what we try to find out from our nurses, they all tell us that we should hold on, they will give us a call back. But up to now, we've not had anything. God has been faithful to us that we've not had any bad news here. But the point is, it's very serious. Some of my patients are complaining they cannot sleep. They are having fatigue at night because the toxins are built in them for about a week now. They cannot sleep, they cannot eat, they are vomiting. You can just imagine the kind of complaints that keeps coming. So when something like that happens, please, we beg them, they should communicate with us and we'll be taking care of us. But when you leave us just like that, we don't know what is going on. You call, nobody tells you anything. Unless you get before you can work on us. So tell us what is going on. It's like everybody is hiding behind. We don't know what is going on. We don't know what is going on. What is not good? If it is a consumer that is finished, they should come and tell us. It is finished. We know they use it on us and it is finished. It is finished. If the minister is listening to us, if it is short and we need to buy, they should try and buy some for us and then they should need to take care of us.
You heard that a spokesperson for the Renal Patients Association, Kojo Bafo Ahinkra. And finally, the Ghana Citi is staging a comeback as it has maintained resilience against the US dollar while having crossed the 17 Citi mark on the retail market last year. It is now selling around 14 cities, while the local currency has recorded one of its longest stretches of stability in recent years. Post-Christmas activities with times it even appreciated against the US dollar.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Charlie, where are you?
Bossman, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Walwale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Massa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
Are you feeling tired after a hard day's work? Have you lost your appetite even for your favorite dish? Viral Blood Tonic is a nutritionally balanced, pleasant-tasting tonic fortified with iron and vitamins to boost your appetite and energy levels for high performance. Viral Blood Tonic, easy to take and good for the family. Viral from Danex Iting Starwin PLC. If symptoms persist after 48 hours, consult a physician. This advert is FDA approved.
Gasaba. Smoke from firewood and charcoal is harmful and as damaging to our lungs as cigarettes. It can cause heart diseases leading to stroke and may even affect our eyesight in the long run. Grandmothers, mothers, sisters, wives, men, caterers, and everyone still cooking with charcoal, let's switch to LPG gas. The National Petroleum Authority has introduced the cylinder recirculation model in collaboration with local partners to make gas more accessible in all local communities. Whether you own a cylinder or not, join our CRM initiative. Simply show up at any exchange point near you with a small down payment to receive a filled cylinder or swap your empty one. Regular safety checks will be in place. Say ebisa musemo or gas. Afedie gasaba. Switch from firewood and charcoal to gas for a better and healthier life. This message is brought to you by the National Petroleum Authority and the Ministry of Energy.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. I am Akusia Autry. The details. Anglo Gold Ashanti PLC and Goldfields have agreed to pause discussions on a proposed joint venture to combine their Iduaprem and Takwa gold mines 2 years after the talks first began. On Citi Business News' Daniel Sakite reports on what's driving the decision and what it could mean for both companies going forward.
The proposed measure, announced in March 2023, sought to combine the neighboring operations into what would have become Africa's largest gold mine. Since then, the companies have held extensive talks with the government to secure the necessary approvals. But Anglo Gold Ashanti now says it has identified new opportunities in a standalone mine plan for Iduaprem, which could unlock significant additional value. As a result, both companies have decided to put the joint venture discussions on hold. The move allows them to focus on optimizing operations at their individual sites, while Anglo Gold Ashanti works to consolidate its updated long-term mining strategy, currently regarded as its most valuable option. The Iduaprem mine is located in the western region about 70 kilometers north of Takrade and just 10 kilometers from Goldfields Takwa mine. The open pit operation began producing gold in 1992 and became part of Anglo Gold Ashanti in 2002 through its merger with Ashanti Goldfields. In 2024, Idwapin produced 137,000 ounces of gold.
That was Citi Business News' Daniel Sakite with that report. Now, Ghana's gold reserves continue its steady upward trajectory, reaching 31.37 tons by the end of April 2025, according to data from the Bank of Ghana. All this marks a substantial increase from 8.78 tons recorded in May 2023, nearly a four-fold rise in less than 2 years. All the growth reflects the central bank's ongoing strategy to bolster foreign reserves and also enhance financial stability through increased gold accumulation. Daniel Dromensa reports.
As Africa's top gold producer, Ghana has taken steps to formalize its small-scale mining sector and channel more of its gold output into national development. To support this effort, President John Dramani Mahama, upon assuming office, established the Gold Board, a regulatory body tasked with overseeing the sale of gold produced by small-scale miners. Since its creation, Gold Board has played a pivotal role in boosting local gold reserves. Notably, it negotiated a landmark agreement with 9 large-scale mining firms to sell 20% of their gold output to the domestic market. This breakthrough agreement followed extensive talks with mining companies not previously involved in the Bank of Ghana's domestic gold purchase program. The deal represents a significant step toward strengthening Ghana's domestic gold reserves and insulating the economy from external shocks.
That business desk report was filed by Daniel Odro Mensah. Now, cashew traders and exporters are calling for greater investment in the cashew sector to achieve the government's ambitious non-traditional export targets. While the traders believe adequate support for farmers and processors will be key if Ghana is to achieve its goal of earning $10 billion annually from non-traditional exports by 2030. While speaking to Citi Business News following the inauguration of an 18-member Accelerated Export Development Committee, Chairman of the Cashew Traders and Exporters Association of Ghana, Alex Ogusueje, stressed the need for strong investment to drive cashew production in Ghana.
I believe that his assertion, he has also considered other products as well, because we have the yam, the pineapple, the coffee, shea butter, and all falling, fruits and some vegetables falling under this non-traditional export goods. But with cashew, currently we are doing around 250 to 300,000 metric tons, and we are getting direct inflow of not less than $500 to $600 million. So that alone is a significant amount of money that if we are to encourage the growth, the processing, that's the production and the processing, and also the export of the raw cashew nut as well, because the more we produce means we can get some to feed the industries. At the same time, we can get some to do the raw nut. And if you look at the countries like Cote d'Ivoire, for instance, it's doing like $1.5 billion annually for only cashew.
Voice of Chairman of the Cashew Traders and Exporters Association of Ghana, Alex Ogusueje. Away from that, the Mobile Money Advocacy Group Ghana is urging mobile money users across the country to desist from panic Momo withdrawals, while the money agents are assuring the accounts of customers remain safe and secure. All their call comes on the back of a data breach which affected over 5,000 customers of the MTN Group. Edward Ufori-Ajaman is president of the group.
Our members, the agents, complaining that customers are withdrawing their money because of what went on social media concerning the data breach on the MTN side. And it was affecting our transaction. Based on that, we also have to find out from platform. It is true that a thing happened with a few people of their customers, but not on the Momo side. So the Momo side is safe per what they explained to us. Because of the videos that were circulating, people were afraid, thinking that they have hacked their code and so on. The funds, it didn't affect the mobile money side to us. And I think even if it were to be, let's say, hitting the mobile money side, like by now, we the agents will be affected more. So customers shouldn't panic. The mobile money platform is safe.
That was Edward Oforia-German, president of the Mobile Money Advocacy Group. Well, that's how we wrap up the Tuesday edition of the City Business News on Eyewitness News. I am Akusia Otre. Do stay with us. Up next is Point Blank.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Oh, jump on now. Go, go. Go me. At what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car? No, I don't change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so. This is the type of fuel where they want to. Cause now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir. Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mindset be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open there. Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel? Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you. Hey, then make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside? I give you info. Make a feel the gobe too small. Go. Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Hey, of course. You know we have been friends since childhood, and we always tell each other everything.
Oh, Cynthia, I know that, and that is why you are my best friend.
We even eat together, and I have spare keys to your room. I also know your phone password.
Cynthia, don't I also know your phone password?
Yes, so. But what about your Momo PIN?
Hey, no way.
Indeed, Akos. Your Momo PIN is your secret. Do not share your PIN for any reason or give your PIN to someone to send cash on your behalf. Debida, never give out your PIN or OTP as a means of claiming a so-called promotional prize one. Your PIN is like your toothbrush. It only belongs to you. Stay alert.
MTN.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
This is Point Blank on Eyewitness News. I am Umaru Sandamadu. Tonight on Point Blank, a code of conduct for the year 2025, at least that's when it's published, by President John Dramani Mahama. So, code of ethics. How ministers will manage their affairs to uphold highest professional standards and avoid conflict of interest. So it's a code of conduct for public officers, explaining what public duties, conflict of interest, and so on. It was launched by President Mahama to help guide and guard his appointees. It's a 66-page document. Hansin Ajiman has been perusing that document, and he's joined me in studio for a summary of it before we have a conversation with Daniel Yadomelovo, former Auditor General. Hansin, you're welcome to Point Blank.
Thank you, Sander.
So this code of ethics, published or announced yesterday, we've seen the publication on the official portal of the government now. What is he, in essence, trying to do?
So the code of
ethics or code of conduct mainly is to guide the minister on how to act and manage his or her affairs in order to uphold the highest professional standards and avoid conflict of interest. It's important to state that the minister referred here includes to deputy ministers, presidential staffers, chief executive officers, and deputy chief executive officers of state and parastatal institutions, members of the Council of State, and other political appointees in the executive arm of government. So this is a document to a large extent which the president and the NDC government is bringing out to at least guide the appointees on how to go with their activities. For the president, he believes that the principles that are espoused in this particular document, for anybody who values the service to this nation and uprightness, these principles may already be ingrained in their minds and exhibited through their actions. However, he believes that it's necessary for the sake of uniformity and avoidance of doubt to capture in one document the rules and procedures to guide those who may falter for one reason or the other. So it is for this basis that the president and the government has come out with a code of conduct highlighting how government appointees should act in respect of certain issues such as conflict of interest, the receipt of gifts, travels, official and non-official travels out of the country, as well as relation with independent institutions like the judiciary and issues of collective ministerial responsibility.
So this an advisory is not law, is it?
Well, it's not law to the strictest sense of it, but of course conventions and some of these codes are applicable in how government appointees act, and of course there are sanctions that come out that are associated with not adherence to these codes. And so since a number of these people who are appointees of the government and of the president and per our constitution, the president who has the power to appoint the same person has the power to dismiss that person. There are sanctions that range from the presidency requiring apology from that said person, reprimanding that person, asking for the resignation, suspending or even termination of that appointment. And so yes, you may say that, well, prior to this there may not have been a law that had this code of conduct in them, but the code of conduct that has been published by the government has in it sanctions which include terminating your appointment. But must also know that some of these ethics in the document are already captured in existing legal laws that we have in the country. For instance, when it comes to issues of asset declaration, when it comes to issues of conflict of interest, these are matters that other laws that exist already have taken care of, and that's why the government is seeking to bring all these together into one document, so that when the minister picks a document, at least he gets to understand in a one-stop read what is expected of him, the do's and the don'ts.
I see. So the president appears to be taking this very seriously and asking them that they should abide. Has he said what punitive measures are going to be taken against?
Yes, so the punitive measures, as I've indicated, ranges from you rendering an apology, being reprimanded, you resigning, being suspended, or your appointment being terminated. As far as this document is concerned, these are the sanctions that we've seen that the committee, that the code of conduct have given for persons who actually default in these code of conduct. But again, we also know that the SHRAJ is a body mandated to a large extent investigate matters relating to the conduct of public officers. And so in this particular document, it is also stated that there may be instances where referrals will be made to SHRAJ for appropriate determination.
Thank you so much, Hansen Ajiman, my colleague here in the newsroom. Let me speak to Daniel Yaodomelovo. He's former Auditor General. He's joined us on the line. He was a member of the oral team. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. Hello, Mr. Domelovo, can you hear me? Hello, sir. Okay, let me try this one more time. Mr. Domelovo, can you hear me, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Great,
Can
great.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. This code of conduct, code of ethics, is it a new thing or is it a regular thing in all our past governments? Is it something that is by law or it is by choice of the president?
Thank you very much. I'm not aware of this code being issued by the previous governments. I stand to be corrected, but they normally issue something like instructions on specific issues. Like you may see a circular coming from the office of the president that nobody should buy a car or nobody should do this. No. So they are not put together like what I am seeing today.
This one is 66 pages, quite comprehensive. I don't know if you've had time to read everything, or at least a summary of what the
Yes,
president said.
I've perused.
And what do you make of, what's the outlook like for you? What are your takeaways? Is it exciting? Is it nothing to talk about? Much ado about nothing.
No, it's a good start. I see a lot of clarity in defining the role of the minister vis-a-vis the role of chief director, which is usually an area of conflict. So how ministers and chief directors should relate, how that has been well defined in the code. And I'm very happy to hear about or read about receiving of gifts, except that the threshold I think is too high. 20,000 is just too high. That is more than $1,000. World Bank, where I was, the threshold was $50. If you receive a gift above the value of $50, you surrender it. You don't take it home. But here is, in this case, about $1,200. Actually, 20,000 Ghana cedis to be specific. I think it is too high. Then, if you go to page 30 of the code, I also saw things on asset declaration, which gladdens my heart. Except that they made some changes to the law there, which I don't think is proper. Because at 550 requires declaration of assets including jewelry. But in this code, they've put the minimum value of 5 million for jewelry, and I asked, where did they get this from? The law does not talk about that. So if they think, I agree that it can be ridiculous if you say you should even declare your ring or your ear, what do you call it, the one, what do you call
earring,
it? The one,
earring.
Earring, yes, your earring or your finger ring, etc. I think that would be ridiculous. But 5 million is also a bit on the high side, and it is not in sync with at 550. So I wish, my personal wish is that I've seen a lot of good things in this code. I think if they can incorporate it into the conduct of public office holders bill and pass it into law, it will help us, because that makes it sustainable, so that we don't set up a standard of behavior or code of behavior for public officers for the next 4 years, and after that whoever can just decide that I'm putting it aside and doing my own thing.
The 20,000 thing, I didn't understand it. If you can expand further. So what is the code saying essentially?
The code is saying that when you receive a gift of up to 20,000, I think above 20,000, you have to keep it in the office. You don't take it away.
It's not as if so you will not just declare, but you would also leave it behind.
Yes, if you want to take it away, then you must get permission of the secretary to the president or something of that nature when you are leaving office, not when you are in office. You don't keep it to yourself, but you keep it in the office. I think below that you can take it, but you must make it known or something of that nature. And I think it is too high.
And this any gift at all?
Yes, the They're just looking at the fact.
So imagine if someone okay. Do you know if this is supposed to be while in line of duty or it could be outside? So for instance, if you had a funeral, someone comes to donate 22,000 cedis or 25,000 cedis, would that be considered a gift above 20,000? For which reason you have to return it to the office, or this is a different game altogether?
Well, when we talk about those things, we're talking about you collecting it in the course of your duty.
But are public officers actually allowed to collect any? Okay, so you are a minister. Say you are transacting a business. A private company comes to do business with you. They want a certain deal go through. Are they allowed to give you any gift at all for us to even be talking about the amount involved?
That is the question. So on those instances, I can say that it is just not right, even if it is one city. That is just not right. But there are instances, maybe you have been invited to a program at a workshop, not a workshop, this
conference.
Our ceremonies like not conference, but those celebrations, festival or something of that nature. And they give you a gift. Those are normally the ones
maybe a goat, and or tubers of yam.
But assuming they give you about 10 cows, I don't know what the value will be.
Oh, that's huge. That's huge. Even 2 cows will take you beyond 20,000.
You see, so if you receive 2 cows, you may have to give it out. But if in the course of doing your work, a contractor comes and says that this is appreciation of even one city, I think it is wrong. The point I'm making is that whereas there are cases or instances where those gifts may be justifiable, 20,000 is on the high side.
So it should have been lower.
Even far lower. In fact, in the World Bank, let me use the World Bank standard. When you find yourself in those ceremonies and they give you a gift, not necessarily cash. I remember in my own case, I went to represent the country manager in a program, and apparently the people, they liked the way I've been dealing with them for several years. So they did a carving of myself and they gave it to me. When I came back to the office and asked, they said that it would be about $200. So I left it. It's in the country office in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
I couldn't take it.
Your own photo.
My own picture. They said that it will be about $200. Okay, so I have to leave it there. And that is good though, because the next time when I visited the place, almost all the newcomers knew me. When they saw me, say, is it not this guy who is at the reception? They said, yes, it's me.
Interesting. Now, my next. So, how is this code of conduct connected to? And I'll ask you to speak further about it becoming an enactment. But there is Shraj. How was the relationship between what this code is saying and what Shraj by law established is supposed to be doing? Because I'm asking this question in relation to that controversial gift that the President Mahama received in the past, that Ford car from Kanazoe of Burkina Faso, and the fact that just 2 days ago or yesterday we saw the Chief of Staff receiving 2 vehicles that were gifts to the President, which have been given to or been donated to the presidential pool. I think it's a state pool or something, vehicle pool.
Yes, I must say that this code does not in any way water down or take away any mandate or responsibility or duties of the Commission for Human Rights and Administration of Justice. And actually, inside the code, it is recognized that they have a constitutional mandate. I think they even quoted Article 218 and said they still have the right to investigate all misbehaviors and, if necessary, forward their finding to the Auditor General for further investigation, etc. They are all captured in the code. So I don't think the code is there to replace any law or anything of that nature. My personal desire or expectation was rather that the additions, the value additions that this code is bringing should rather be incorporated into the bill, which is already there, so that we pass it into law, and then sanctions are well defined in there. Because since the president is the one pushing this, he can implement sanctions. there's no, you don't need a law to say that the president has taken you away from your ministerial position. So he can still administer it. But it must become binding on public servants. And this one is heavily centered on ministers. If you read it, you see that it's more or less minister.
And deputies.
It is, okay, of course, but they are still ministers.
Yes,
okay, so
yes.
ministers and deputies.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to, this conduct must bind all public office holders, including chief directors and directors, assistant directors, messengers, everybody, because they are all holding public office. So that is where I think we have a bit more of work to do, so that it can be incorporated into the laws of Ghana with sanctions.
Does it mean then that the Shraj mandate is not as expansive or extensive, for which reason we have to have a special code of ethics and conduct to guide ministers? Because I could say that I have, if Shraj invited me, for instance, I would say, oh, I've already been covered by the code of conduct issued by the president. Or if that team that deals with the code of conduct by the president invites me, I could say, no, I would rather go under Shraj, depending on which one will be more lenient to me, don't you think?
I don't think the two are mutually exclusive, actually.
Okay.
I don't think if of course, the code says that the ministers are responsible to the president for the performance of their job, etc. But it recognized the constitutional mandate of Shraj. I don't remember the exact page, but I remember reading it, that it does not take anything away from Shraj. But then, you see, even Shraj developed a code of conduct in the past, but who is respecting it? Because it has not been legislated. So that's why I think that this is good. In fact, if you read the bill, which is ready to regulate public officers, their conduct, I think that is very comprehensive. And a few things have come on board, like collecting, how you collect the gift, and in fact, even the gift was addressed in that bill. So a whole a prohibition of purchase of government, assets.
I see that you are interested more in seeing this legislated, but can you really legislate ethics? Should you legislate ethics?
This is the code of behavior. It's not ethics per se. It is code of conduct.
Okay.
And if you be minded, you go under the Constitution, you see Article 284 actually prescribe that public office holders should not put themselves in a position where their interests will conflict with doing their work. So this law is going to give flesh to that constitutional provision.
Okay.
So the question today we will ask is, what does that mean? Now, this code is telling you that when you are recruiting, do not include your do not influence the process to the advantage of your family and friends and all those things. But it is not law, and that's why I'm saying that if we incorporate all that into the bill, I think it will become very good. You go to the public service, you won't believe it. There are some institutions, I don't want to mention their names. The head of the institution, the wife, the children, they are all in there.
Wow.
That's become a family affair. Yes.
Interesting. No.
If you ask me, I'll show you why you will be surprised.
Please show me. And before you go, yes.
I said off air.
Oh, I know. I'll ask you off air. Before you go, yesterday, the president spoke tough on the asset declaration. He said he's going to penalize those who have not declared their assets. They will forfeit 3 months of their salaries. And if in the future they do not declare their assets, they will leave his government. I don't know what you make of that before you go.
Yes, I actually said kudos to him, because this is the very first time ever that sanctions are being applied to people who do not comply with this assets and liabilities declaration requirement of our constitution. In the past, these misbehaviors or non-compliance reported to Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice in line with Article 287 of the Constitution, and nothing has happened. Even we have judges of the superior courts, including Chief Justice, Supreme Court judges, Court of Appeal judges, High Court judges, who flout these laws, and they sit there and sentence people for smaller offenses, and nothing ever happens. So this is the first time president says that, well, you did not listen to me and you didn't obey the declaration that I say you should do. So 3 months salary plus, of course, there's another one which is also being put. So 4 months salary, you are going to forfeit that. And I think it is a good move. And I think he even gave a deadline of maybe 7th or so, that if you have not declared by then, consider yourself sacked.
Tomorrow, actually, I think,
Yes. So if by tomorrow they don't declare, they should consider themselves sacked. And I think that is the attitude we need.
Very well.
There must be consequences for misbehavior in the public sector so that we can reduce and do away with this level of impunity we find many times our public office holders showing us.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
It's a pleasure, my brother.
That's Daniel Yaudomelovo. He's former Auditor General speaking to us there. And that's how we end tonight's edition of Eyewitness News, which came to you from our studios in Accra. My name is Umar Rusanda. I did this with Akosia Otri. Production by Kobina Wilson and Sami Wiafe. The technical support from Mr. Lati, new media support from Emmanuel Usu and the new media team. We'll be back tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.